Coming up next on everybody's favorite, the CHGO Cubs Podcast presented by Toyota. CubsCon brings us a little trip down memory lane, explanations about the outfield, and maybe a little money. Are the Cubs done, or is there a room for an extra gallon of fun? CHGO Cubs, next.
Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Podcast on a Monday presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Come on in, everybody. How was your weekend? You know what? I had a pretty good weekend at CubsCon, and we're going to talk all about it. Yeah, as we mentioned, presented by Toyota. Joey Christopoulos, Luke Stuckmeyer, Sean Anderson on the ones and twos. Luke, how are you, my friend? How was your weekend?
Well, let me tell you. I'm disappointed in the finish of the Bears game. What a ride that was. And I do have a question for you about it as we went through the emotions of that Bears game last night. It got me to thinking. It flashed me back just in a little bit to Seiya Suzuki hits a 3-run homer and Andrew Vaughn hits a 3-run homer. Right? Like the throw to Komet, I don't know if I've ever been as excited as that. I'd have to go back to 85 Bears to be that excited about a Bears play, right? Like even my wife jumped across the room because she couldn't believe it. And it was the only play she watched of the entire game, okay? But the letdown of the interception was like, okay, it's over. They're going to lose now. It is over. And that's how I felt after the Andrew Vaughn. Maybe not comparable in size for excitement, but was the letdown similar for you?
So the thing that was great about that shot, right, is he's backing up and the camera's panning and panning and panning. He unleashes it, and then it pans and pans and pans. Who's over there? Nobody's over there. Cole Kmet's over there. He's alone. He catches the ball. Touchdown. Like, nothing really surprises me anymore when it comes to the Chicago Bears. I will tell you, though, I'm not over it yet. Me and Sean were going back and forth about, like, I'm not mad at individuals. I'm not mad at the coach, the quarterback, the wide receiver, whatever it is. I'm just mad at the missed opportunity. And I can't help but feel like, Luke, this has eerie parallels to another Cubs one. This feels like the 2015 Cubs to me. Like we slayed the dragon of our rival. We took down the Cardinals. They beat the Packers. And then in the following round or game, when it talks to Cubs-Mets, you know, those pitchers shut down all the young stars in the young core the same way that I think Colston Loveland did not have a good game, Roma Dunze did not have a good game, Luther Burden did not have a good game. That's the parallel that I'm feeling right now, Sean.
Hold on. So I have hindsight. I have knowing what happens.
Okay.
You're all upset. I was like, oh, it's a great season. You're like, I'm not ready to pat him on the back. You know what happens the next year. If it's exactly what happens in 2015, in 2016, the Bears win the Super Bowl.
That's why
So they're going to beat the Browns in the Super Bowl next year, and you're all mad about it?
Yeah, because Luke, this is why I'm mad, Luke, is because I feel like a lot of, and we should. We're patting them on the back. It was a great season. I'm hearing the word house money a whole lot. But what that 2015 team did, at that moment, I asked myself, can this young core get back there? Are they going to come back? And then that 2016 team came back with a vengeance. I want the 2027 or 2026, 2027 Chicago Bears to come back with a vengeance. That's what I want from the young core. That needs to be solved. That's out for them to achieve, but that's how I'm feeling about it right now.
And the only difference, the real difference here between 2015 and this Bears team is injuries are so much more a part of the NFL. And the Bears were relatively healthy this season. And you only have that window of that rookie quarterback deal to really have your best chance of getting it done. But That said, Joey, they have a quarterback, they have a coach, they have some other players. And for the first time in decades, I see a path. I see the light. I see a chance. And that is what I saw in 2015 was like, wait a minute. They have arrived. So maybe there's a chance. I saw Hap was at the game, by the way, sitting in the cold with Tyone and Nico, and they were out in the elements. Now, I saw PCA was in the elements before the game, but maybe he watched it from a suite. I don't know. I don't know where he watched it, but it was cool to see Cubs people embracing that as well. And maybe guys like Bregman and some other guys just getting a taste of, man, we can make this city electric. What will the Bears record be when the Cubs win the World Series in 26? That was the first question that popped in my mind. Well, what will the Bears record be when the Cubs win their World Series for the second time?
They'll be 6-1 by then, 7-1 by then.
Probably.
I think that's right around there.
Probably undefeated.
And that was the thing too, right? Is that this was a really fun weekend in Chicago sports, and we're fresh off of Cubs convention, which I was able to attend Friday and Saturday. And Luke, man, we were talking Cubs, and the passion was high. And the optimism is overflowing right now, especially at that Cubs convention, but that should be expected. But when the cameras were off, that's all the players wanted to talk about was the Bears, what was happening to this city when the Bears are successful, when the Bears are deep in the playoffs. And I get it, this will always be a Bears town, but it was not lost on these Cubs players that, when they have hopefully their success in 2026, they can capture the city the exact same way. And they were a part of it and having fun with it. And then hopefully they're going to be the ones out there performing and producing, creating that excitement this summer. And that was not lost on those players all weekend. Or Jed Hoyer, who wore a Bears jersey, a Brian Hoyer jersey on Saturday.
Yeah, he obviously got that on the discount. But, I was at 2010 was the NFC Championship, right? Against the Packers. I was at those two playoff games reporting, and I don't remember that kind of showing from Cubs players and Cubs front office. Like they're still going on at the same time. I don't remember that the baseball team was embracing the football team like that. There might have been some players there, but I don't remember it being like this. And I don't know, maybe that's corny, but it just seemed kind of cool to see the two franchises supporting each other.
Right, it's not a box score thing, but it's the middle of January, so create a little space for us for a second here. But there is definitely a large portion of Cubs players on this current roster that care about the city, and that they care about being Chicago Cubs, and they care about doing it together. Now, is that going to have them win 100 games? No, but during a long season, Luke, sometimes those intangibles will help you get through, whether it is a rut at the plate or maybe you've lost 5 or 6 in a row. You got players on this team that maybe are taking on new roles, or guys that are coming in like in Alex Bregman. They're trying to not just assimilate but become one of the leaders and pillars of the team moving forward. And the fact that they're all kind of pulling on the same rope for Chicago, it doesn't mean nothing. It might be a little something, but it doesn't mean nothing.
No, agreed. I enjoy the fact that fans in this city give so much to the players, right? And this is a chance for the players to sort of embrace the city back. And wasn't it maybe just a little bit ironic that the last big play of the Bears season ended with Cole Kmet swinging a bat? So I say to you, so long to a great Bears season. It is officially Cubs season. This is it. Baseball's back. Here we are. We're the next chance you got at winning a championship.
Next chance, best chance, baby.
That's
it.
And hopefully now 9 minutes in, we can get to Cubs talk because the chat's ready to riot. Godfather specifically. Bears, this ain't no stinking Bears channel.
Wow. So Godfather's so excited about the Chicago Cubs and the moves that they're making. That's all he wants is Cubs chat.
He's so happy.
Let's get to it. Luke, I want to get your opinion on two things. The first one is clearly this offseason has fulfilled a lot of dreams in the dream bucket for Cubs fans. And We wanted a big bat. We got it. We wanted a starting pitcher. We have it. Shota Imanaga is returning. If you're a big fan of that, that's great. But now you've been conditioned as a Cubs fan to think they must be done. This is it.
Yeah.
They fulfilled our wishes. What more could we ask for? Let's not get greedy here as Cubs fans. But there's news and there's information that continues to lead Cubs fans to believe that the Cubs might not be done, that they need more. And you heard it from the mouths of the manager this weekend at Cubs convention. You heard it from the general manager. And now you see this report from Bruce Levine on 670 The Score today saying that maybe the Cubs aren't out of the Zac Gallen sweepstakes or bidding, if you will. What is your take on Zac Gallen possibly being added to this rotation that we've gone over that rides already 6, 7, 8 deep?
I love it. Like first of all, I've never been against Zac Gallen because he's had some great years in his career, and I think he can still bring it, and potentially if they can unlock that. But I didn't want him as their main move of the offseason, right? Well, he's not. And now if you look at, let's say if they can add Zac Gallen, just to take it, sorry, Godfather, but just to take this back to the Bears for a second.
Uh-oh.
We all looked at that team going into the season and thought, wow, this could be different. Now, I don't know if we thought it was one play away from the NFC Championship, but we looked at it and said, what was the one thing that was still missing? Pretty obvious, pass rusher. We all thought, man, what if they could still go get the guy from the Bengals? Or what if they could go get Micah Parsons before he went to the Packers? And you thought, well, maybe it's a little bit early for that. Well, the same might be true for the 2026 Chicago Cubs. But I still look at it and say, what are they missing? Man, I could use another arm of depth because there's still a lot of question marks about the pitching staff and the health of some of the guys, right? Whether it's Steele, whether it's Boyd having not pitched that many, whether it's Cade Horton finishing his season with an injury. And I look at it and I say to myself, wow, what if they could have Horton, Boyd, Steele before it's all over, said and done, Tyone, Shota, that's 5, right? Then you look at who else am I missing? Colin Ray is 6.
Javier Assad, Ben Brown, Jackson Wiggins.
Zac Gallen into that mix.
Yeah.
And now you're looking like you're pushing towards like what I was dreaming of. Like 8 potential quality starters you can look at and say, listen, I know we're going to break down. I know guys are going to have injuries, but never at any point in this season are we going to be, we can't get it done because we have depth. We have super depth. And when we get to the trade deadline, hopefully we're so good, we realize, all right, let's pick a couple and trade them for those prospects that we're now seeking back. Go ahead and do it. This is the time, Cubs. Don't stop here. If you're going to push past the taxes, Carter Hawkins says is no longer a problem, go ahead and do it. Why not? Use it as a bonus.
Yeah, let's roll into a quick break here on CHGO
Well, real
Cubs and
quick,
get this
can we
conversation going.
throw out this one comment because we did ask Godfather, what do you have to complain about? First convention in a long time. I had nothing to complain about.
Yeah.
So we should frame that. This is like a historic moment from Godfather. I'm just waiting for the day he changes his profile logo to Tom Ricketts. Then we'll know he's truly changed.
I might get a tattoo of that on my bicep. First convention, no complaints.
I'm with Tom. No complaints.
Boom.
All right, let's roll into a quick break here because on the other side of the break, and I want the chat to get involved, if Zac Gallen were to come to Chicago, how much money are you willing to give him? Are you giving him multiple years? Is it a 1-year deal? What would the offer be on the table that you would slide across to Zac Gallen that you think would be palatable for him to sign with the Cubs? And would you want him on the team in general? I see some people in the chat saying, oh, there's no room. There's no way. There's no way. You can always, it's a good problem to have, people. To have good starting pitching, you can honestly never have enough. But let's take a break here on the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota to hear some from one of our wonderful partners. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Hey, Chicago sports fans, whatever the moment, you know it's never ordinary at Bet365. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5 win or lose. Next week is the NFC and AFC championship game. I'm going to get through this, I promise. But if you place a bet on either of those teams to go up by 17 points, you can be an instant winner on payouts with straight bets and parlay selections that are marked as winners. So download the app. When you use the code CHGO365 when you sign up, you can qualify for that offer. You can also double your winnings on parlays with Bet365's 100% parlay boost. So download the app, use that code CHGO365. Right now, you can use those on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Remember, deposit $10, place a bet for $5, $200 in bonus bets, code CHGO365. But you must be 21 plus or older, or if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, Crisis Counseling and Referral Services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in-app only.
I think it's safe to say now that winter is here. Real nice waking up this morning to 0 for an actual temperature, wasn't it? Hey, is your home's heating up for the challenge? Glad mine is. Maybe it's time for you to schedule your Four Seasons furnace tune-up. I already did it. If you're thinking about a whole home generator to back you up, they got you covered there too. At Four Seasons, they guarantee same-day installation for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, and generator needs, with no extra charge for nights, weekends, or holidays. You can save up to $4,000 right now on furnaces and comfort systems with Four Seasons heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electric. Furnaces start at $39 a month. Furnace AC combos at $57 a month. Call today. Save $50 from your trusted local experts. Four Seasons, serving our area for more than 50 years. We're sponsored by Four Seasons. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special money-saving coupons and offers. That's Four Seasons heatingcooling.com. They have you covered. Don't get left out in the cold, please.
Coming back here on the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota Let's Go Places. Joey Christopoulos, Luke Stuckmeyer, Sean Anderson on the ones and twos. We asked it before the break, and I'll bring it to you, Luke, that, look, Zac Gallen, I believe, signed an arbitration deal for about $10 million, a one-year deal last year.
13,
thank you very much, $13 million last year. Now on the open market, clearly has not gotten the money that he wanted. They did extend him the qualifying offers that would cost the Chicago Cubs draft compensation and some international spending money. But again, they're getting some of that back because Kyle Tucker is now on the Los Angeles Dodgers. What would that look like to you? Like, if you are the Cubs and you're going to Zac Gallen, Luke, what is that? It feels like it'd have to be a one-year prove-it deal. Yeah. And would it be $15 million? Would it be $20 million? Where do you think that number would start with Zac Gallen?
I would think at least $15 million, but I sort of think of it as Bellinger the first time around for the Cubs, right? Like, that worked out. I don't have a problem with that. Like, somebody who's had really good success in his career, and you could say, listen, you got 1 year. You rebuild it with us. I don't know that I would go beyond that, even an option maybe for a second year. I don't know that I would really go there, but I guess if it lowered the price of the first year, I would consider a second year with an option. But think of the depth you're talking about in that pitching rotation. Like, I don't even know where Gallen fits in. So, like, the flip side, if I'm saying yes, the flip side of it is, well, yeah, are you going to spend $15 million on a guy that you're not sure is in your top five? I mean, that's realistic, but I'm just saying, yes, have you looked at the way pitching works anymore? Yes, I'm willing to do it. I hope Tom and Jed are.
And it's fascinating that they're talking. Now, at Cubs convention, the first question I believe that was asked to Craig Counsell was something along the lines of, like, are the Cubs done? Or, you know, they've added all this depth. And Craig was emphatic that, no, we need more depth. He wasn't talking specifically pitching or maybe on the position player side, but he seemed to be saying all quadrants, we need to continue to fortify and insulate and create more options. He even also name-checked. He's like, there's a couple names out there that'll be pitching for us that no one's even talking about right now. So I found that to be rather fascinating, but he wouldn't go into further detail. When it comes to Zac Gallen, right? Yeah, maybe. When it comes to Zac Gallen, $15 million feels about right, but it would have to be probably incentive laden to me. Like, let's just say 15 base And if you hit certain markers, we can get you up to 18 to 20 a year, which is probably the going rate for, frankly, a guy who did not have a great year last year, but he's had some quality years at the big league level for the last 4 or 5 years. He probably is an 18 to $20 million pitcher. My only question then that remains is, as you said, like, who's the odd man out? And does this also maybe speak to I keep going back to the return for the Edward Cabrera deal. And I know Owen Casey was the headliner, but the pieces that came after that just made me think, like, are the Cubs cautiously optimistic that Edward Cabrera is going to stay healthy, remain healthy, and pitch a full freight of hopefully 25 to 30 starts this year? Or are they saying this can maybe be more of a long-term play also, that we love the upside of this player, and maybe his medicals aren't great right now because, as you've mentioned, we've talked about on the show, he finished the year with a slight UCL tear in his elbow, but it was still pitching. Maybe they're just trying to fortify and think bigger picture while also helping themselves right now. When you look at the projected starting rotation for the Chicago Cubs, Cade Horton, Edward Cabrera, Shota Imanaga, Matthew Boyd, Jameson Taillon, possibly to return Justin Steele, Javier Assad, Colin Ray, Ben Brown, Wiggins, Jordan Wicks, and then maybe adding Zac Gallen to the mix. Matthew Boyd was an all-star last year. Shota Imanaga was an all-star the year before. Jameson Taillon is a starter. He's not coming out of the bullpen. You just traded for Edward Cabrera, and Cade Horton's your prize prospect. So I'm all for competition. I'm almost asking, like, you know, who's out? Who's in, who's out, right? And maybe that's a fascinating thing that they're trying to build there with that rotation for the 2026 Cubs.
Well, maybe if you started the season with a 6-man rotation that included Zac Gallen, and likely will have early season injuries, so that just might take it back to 5 guys anyway. And then your Ben Browns and your Assads slide into the bullpen automatically. And Wiggins stays in Iowa a little bit longer until he's needed and necessary. And we don't really know when Steele's back, although he said he threw off the mound right before CubsCon,
yes,
which is unbelievable news. But let's not rush him along, and let's say that that's a couple months. Well, you get a couple months of Gallen, and now, again, you're able to think about surplus and the possibility of, are we healthy enough to trade somebody? Is Wiggins pitching enough in AAA? Did nobody get hurt? Does it look like Cabrera's good? You can answer some of those questions and then have that flexibility later in the season. If you sign Zac Gallen, he's part of the rotation. It almost automatically tells you 6-man rotation unless you have somebody hurt in the spring, which, come on, like, when's the last time the Cubs in the first month of the season didn't have an injured starting pitcher?
Every year.
I feel it's every year, right?
Yes.
Whether it's Steele to start the game, whether it was start the season in game 1, or whether it's been, somebody injured in spring training. Every year somebody's banged up.
Javier Assad's oblique. Justin Steele goes down. He's had the hamstring, and he had the arm stuff. Shota Imanaga wasn't exactly the start of the year, but it's pretty dang close. This happens fairly regularly, and
it's a change in the game, Joey. And the Cubs have recognized it. Now, whether or not they're going to put their money where their mouth is on it, they have in other spots this offseason, but it's a change in the game. Arms just go down so much easier than they ever have because guys are throwing harder and crazier than they ever have. And we're starting to see the innings shrink, and I think we're going to start to see the collection of arms get even bigger and bigger. And you're going to have less. I think you're going to have less utility players before it's all over because you're going to have to keep stockpiling arms. You're going to have to. Everybody's learning that. And the Cubs are in a financial position to make that stockpile of arms quality, not just quantity. And I think that's a big deal, especially if you're able to move 1 or 2 of them later in the season, because then you can pick who you really want to move if everybody's healthy.
Right. And, I know he's a team first guy too as well, and a guy who's going to be pitching for the World Baseball Classic. Matthew Boyd seems like an obvious fit as a guy that turns into a swingman. He made an all-star team last year. It's kind of hard to tell a guy, especially in a contract year, that, hey, we're asking you to take on what would be maybe considered a reduced role. and being maybe more of a piggyback starter too as well on certain days and giving you multiple innings and turning into a threat out of the bullpen. So maybe that's a situation. Another rumor that was out there, or at least a reported, rumored of interest for the Chicago Cubs, apparently talking about Miguel Andujar. Look, a guy that provided a lot of great power a couple of years ago, has definitely fallen off the map. I think he's an offensive first player. But here's the news is whether it's Andujar or whether it's Gallen or whatever it is, Luke, is that it is clear, especially coming off of this Cubs convention, that the Cubs are not done. They are looking to add on to this team. And for everyone in the chat, and I appreciate you coming up and with your comments and stuff about where's so-and-so going to play and how is this all going to work out. Well, these guys are going to have to go out there and earn their spot. And no one is more under that spotlight of earning the spot than Matt Shaw. I want to get into this conversation because I think that was the big piece of news, Luke, on Friday at Cubs convention was not just like, oh my God, we signed Alex Bregman. Does this mean we trade Nico Hoerner? Don't trade Nico Hoerner. Just say no. Does this mean we trade Matt Shaw? The big talk on Friday was immediately Jed Hoyer and Craig Counsell coming out and saying, yes, Matt Shaw is going to have to learn and take some reps in the outfield. If he wants to find his way into this lineup, he's going to have to get versatile. And then they doubled down on it. Then Ian Happ talked about it. And how convenient, Luke, that the 2016 reunion was this weekend because Craig had no problem name-checking some 2016 players of, hey, this guy did it, this guy did it, that guy did it. And then Matt Shaw himself said, yes, they have told me I'm going to have to learn to play some outfield. So, like, this is confirmed, Luke, that he's going to have to learn how to play multiple positions, maybe 3 or 4 positions this year to be able to fit into this lineup because that's what the Cubs are trying to do. Build so much depth that you have to earn your way into the lineup.
I think Matt Shaw should spend a lot of time with Ben Zobrist this winter. And when they get to spring training, the Cubs need Ben Zobrist there to literally be the shadow for Matt Shaw. Every time he's got a question, hey Ben, hey Ben, hey Ben, hey Ben, hey Ben, hey Ben, hey Zo, hey Zo. Just keep picking his brain about how you're able to do this, right? And it really is sort of crazy because the best thing that Shaw did last season was play defense. I think we were all shocked by how good he was at third base. And he's coming into this, and it's just the way it is. And this takes me back to Nico had that great season defensively as a shortstop. When we were all questioning, is Nico a shortstop? Can Nico play shortstop? And then they went out and signed Dansby, and Nico's like, all right, I'll go over to second. This is the same thing. Like, we all questioned whether or not Shaw could do it defensively. He more than did it. And now Bregman's here, and it's like, well, you're going to have to be a team player. Go learn these other positions. Give us that versatility because you might need that outfield versatility, and that's how you're going to get your at-bats. If you want your at-bats, learn to play outfield this spring. Start working on it now in private workouts. And so he's got plenty of time.
Yeah, plenty of time. I mean,
shortstop to outfield. You can go from third base to outfield.
Ian Happ said as much this weekend that he was the second baseman through the minor league system, and they had no spot for him. So he started learning how to play in the outfield, first in right field, and then moved over to left. And who did he talk to learn? Ben Zobrist. That is exactly what he said in front of a microphone this weekend. Before we go to break, let's tease it. Let's play the Craig Counsell sound that we have from Cubs Convention, talking about Matt Shaw playing the outfield and also name-checking a very famous 2016 player who also had to learn how to play other positions to create that versatility on that amazing team. Let's hear from Craig at the Cubs Convention.
You know, I have a lot of confidence that he's I think his transition to third, you're right, showed that he can do it. Now, this is the outfield. I think moving an infielder from to the outfield is a little easier than the other way around. I think Matt's shown that he's a very good athlete, and I think Jed made the case and made the point in Alex's press conference of Chris Bryant did this, Javi Baez did this, and so it's we're not making something up out of thin air here. You know, this is something that some talented players have been able to do, and certainly have a lot of confidence that Matt can do.
When you hear that, Luke, what's your reaction?
Yes, that's absolutely what they should do this year. I wouldn't trade Shaw right now. Get this versatility, and then you go into next offseason when it happens and you say, wow, look at the versatile player we have now. If you want to trade for Matt Shaw and we want to keep Nico Horner, we can, or vice versa, or whatever you want to do. I love it. I love it. And I do think Shaw can do it. And he's got all the people around him that can help him. Bregman can help him. Happ can help him. Zobrist can help him, right? He's got plenty of people to lean on. Go do it.
We got plenty more here on the CHGO Cubs podcast, but let's take a quick break. On the other side of the break, we got Matt Shaw sound talking about playing the outfield himself. We're going to get to some of your comments and questions here, but first, let's hear from some of our wonderful partners on the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota. Let's go places. We'll be right back. Hey, Cubs fans, guess what? I'm 42 years old, and the Bears season is over, and I've been on a beer beef bonanza for the last couple weeks, so it's time to get my stuff together. And what better way to get my stuff together than with Game Day Men's Health? Because whether it's the peak performance or becoming a better father, a better husband, a better man, better podcaster, better dog father, Game Day Men's Health wants to support every man's health journey through personalized care that is tailored to your goals. It's a very quick and easy process. They came in here a couple weeks ago. They took my blood. It only took an hour. I learned a lot, and I got my results back in just a couple of days, so I know how to conquer and tackle my goals in 2026. They got personal care and family, local-owned clinics, extremely high success rate, so you can feel better and have more energy. Doesn't matter whether it's testosterone, vitamin supplements, weight loss, or hair loss treatments. It is Game Day Men's Health. So make sure you head over to Game Day Men's Health right now to check it out and get their wonderful services today. And we also want to talk to you about something a little special, too. National Championship game on tonight. That's right. It's BrandonBills.com. So whether it's a snapback, trucker, fitted, beanie, or tee, Brandon Bills got you covered with performance and style. So if you're looking for some gear to make your brand stand out apart from the crowd, Brandon Bills has got you covered with the best custom headwear in the game. So start your order today with their dedicated team that will help you create the exact custom apparel that you need. They got partnerships with over 40 colleges, including 10 Big Ten schools.
And new styles, Joey. Look at that.
Look at all these new
a black
wonderful
Penn
styles
State
that they
hat,
have. It
a
just
black
keeps
Michigan State
rolling
hat,
on
Pat Fitzgerald.
That's right.
Maryland.
Anything you want to go.
Mark
Ohio
Carmen.
State, IU. 2 different kinds of IU hats right now.
Google them.
So that's why you got to go BrandonBills.com. If you go to BrandonBills.com and use the code BBCHGO, you'll get 15% off your first purchase. So get in the game. Get a Brandon Bills hat today when you go to BrandonBills.com. Remember the code BBCHGO for 15% off your first order. Brandon Bills, go check them out today.
How it started, how it finished. We are back on the CHGO Cubs podcast, coming off of Cubs convention and some big news. We're talking about Matt Shaw going to the outfield, how the Cubs brought it up. Joey got some great sound there at Cubs convention, and it got me to thinking as we were going to break, how it started, how it finished. Sometimes in the offseason, once football's done, we get a little screwy in the head, right? We start thinking about, what if this guy does this? And we go a little bit out over our skis, right? I remember being awfully excited about Gage Tater Workman. Now, he had a terrific spring training, and we thought, wow, they have found lightning in a bottle. Same thing with Patrick Wisdom. You go all the way back in Cubs. You could go over and over times that it's happened. But Gage Tater Workman was our backup at third base. And we thought, what if Gage Tater Workman does this? What if Gage Tater Workman does that? I like Matt Shaw as my backup guy and utility depth a lot more than I like Nick Madrigal, Gage Tater Workman, all these other guys. I believe Shaw is an everyday player, but that shows how the depth of this team has quickly grown. That shows how the Cubs have taken this next step to, okay, this guy was on another team and maybe we catch lightning in a bottle. He's got a cool nickname. I'd print the shirts. To, no, we've seen this guy do it and we know he can do it, and now he's depth. So this was, Joey, you got some Matt Shaw sound, is that correct?
Yeah, so, and what you're talking about right now is it's been a while since the Cubs have had a super sub. And when you try and adjust the lineup, or you try and mix things up, or you try and give someone a blow, or maybe someone gets a little less than 100%, you don't want to skip a beat, right? And forgive me, but like the days of Vidal Brujan, the Cubs seem to be kind of moving beyond that, right? Yeah. So I understand a lot of people in the chat right now talking about like, well, Matt Shaw's heading to Boston or whatever. Frankly, we'll see what happens, and I'm not here to declare one thing or the other, but that's not the vibe that I got. The vibe that I got is, How are we going to help Matt Shaw? And Matt Shaw is going to have to figure out what he needs to do to learn the position. Let's hear from Matt Shaw himself talking at the Cubs convention about making his transition to the outfield and what it's going to be like for him.
I look forward to outfield. I think infield in general just takes a lot more reps than going out to the outfield. I played outfield like growing up a lot. So I look forward to running around out there. Outfield's definitely fun. And the at-bat stuff, I think there's at-bats there, and obviously it's up to me as it's up to all the guys to earn their spots and to play well. So no different than if I was, playing third or playing second or playing whatever, I still have to earn those at-bats. So, something I really look forward to this year.
So that's an acknowledgement right there that's what's coming for Matt Shaw. And it wasn't just Matt Shaw either. And this is another reason why I think he's going to be in the fold in 2026. Ian Happ talked about, he's going to get with me in spring training, and I'm going to teach him the way that Ben Zobrist tried to teach me. And then it was also, I believe PCA was like, I have full confidence that Matty's going to be great out there. I'm excited to run around with him in the outfield. And then the other part about it, Luke, was the other thing that I kind of took away was when you hear from Bregman, you hear from Dansby, you hear from Nico, you hear from Ian Happ, a lot of their mantra, and look, I've been one that's critical of this because I think these guys need a day off from time to time. There's 4 or 5 guys, and PCA, there's 4 or 5 guys in this lineup that pride themselves on playing every single day. They don't want to miss a single at-bat or an inning. Anthony Rizzo said it over the weekend that as a player, missing just one game or taking one day off could be the one day that you don't hit 5 grand slams in a game. He said it. That's out of his words because he said anything's possible. So if you're able to go out there and you're able to play, that's what you're going to do. So if you got 5 guys on that roster that obviously help provide it are going to want to play 150-plus games, Matt Shaw is going to have to learn how to kind of fit in between the cracks a little bit. And just by that sound right there, he doesn't seem too worried about it. But, it's going to be an adjustment for him.
Yeah, I love that the Cubs have a bunch of players that don't want to sit. But Tony Rizzo, let me point out also that one day you sit down could also be the day that you went 0 for 5.
Sure.
And then hurt yourself because your body was tired. So you also have to do what's right for the team. And I want some of the Cubs grinders to just accept that but not like it. Okay? It's okay. And that's going to how Council's going to have to sell it to some of these guys. I know what's best for this team. You have to listen to me. I don't want you to like it, but you have to take what I tell you. And when I put out the lineup, that's going to be the lineup. And if you are sitting one day, I want you to use that to do the right things to get your body ready for the next day. And also stay ready in case I need you in the middle of the game, right? Like, it's okay. It's not. Nothing is longer than a baseball season. It goes on forever, right? And hopefully you're in the postseason and it goes on forever and ever. And that's the way we want it to feel. But I do like the depth that the Cubs have built. I like the personalities and the drive from the players. But I also want them to be accepting of whatever is best for the team.
Yeah, this is a great comment here on the screen from Mr. Mohawk. Timmy, let's do a Toyota Super Chat with it, honestly. What's that, Toyota Super Chat? Oh, yeah, baby. Can you scroll back up a little bit? So
making a big deal out of it. Like, whoa, hello. So,
scroll back up. Shaw is a super sub, makes 2026 Cubs a better team, gives the team more depth, and if they don't re-sign Nico, which they should, I agree, can slide Shaw over to second next year. And also, let's tee up the other Toyota Super Chat from Corey, too, as well, in our favorites, because, Luke, it's day 7 of our campaign of Do Not Trade Nico Hoerner. And how are we doing? Let's check in, shall we? Matt Shaw is learning how to play the outfield, right? Like, Carter Hawkins is going around telling people that luxury tax won't be an issue. And, we're testing and reading the tea leaves on Zac Gallen. And then Corey Seacrest here for Toyota Super Chat says, my best friend's sister's boyfriend, brother's girlfriend, heard from this exec who knows this scout, who's going with the team who saw Nico pass out at 31 flavors last night. I guess it's serious. Well, it's serious that he should be staying on the Chicago Cubs. Day 7 of the campaign, it's still going well, Luke.
Yeah.
That we now have it confirmed that Matt Shaw is going to learn to play a little bit of outfield. The Cubs are saying depth. And it looks like that also means, oh yeah, let's keep the player who had the highest WAR on the team last year, Nico Hoerner.
I think Nico's probably trying to numb the thought that he could even be traded, right? He went to the Bears game. He froze his butt off outside, and then apparently he went and he got ice cream afterwards. That's a man that's trying to numb his head, saying, why would you even take the phone call? Actually, I believe he did talk at Cubs convention and was like, I understand it. It's the last year of a contract. That's the way it works in baseball. Like Nico knows it's a business, but it shouldn't have changed his approach to the offseason, and I'm confident it won't, right? And I heard other players saying all the right things too. Good thing we got Nico Hoerner, man. Look at the defense we've got going on. And now Bregman just brings that even more so. And I heard Rizzo talking about how Bregman was going to help out everything on the team because he knows how to go through it and he knows how to win and he'll be great depth. And I did enjoy Rizzo, by the way, talking about credit to the first baseman for always plucking the ball over at first base, giving himself a little pat on the back, right? But I do think he's right. What a difference we've had now in just one signing with Bregman, the way we're talking about the depth of this team. It's just one guy. And I know you subtracted Tucker, but it's still a way deeper team this year, I think, because of where they made the big addition.
Right. And that was
it's been a long weakness.
And that was the thing is I was asking Rizzo, I was like the 2016 infield that turned into the 2017 infield that all started the All-Star game.
Yep.
He was a part of something really special. And I was asking him now that Bregman's in the fold, and you look around, you see Bregman, Dansby, Nico, and Michael Busch there. It's not about comparison, but it's also about saying the Cubs could be on to something pretty special defensively and also offensively when it comes to their infield. And let's talk a little bit more Bregman because we got an opportunity to talk to PCA, and we've got some sound of PCA just talking about a conversation that he's already had with Bregman over this weekend, and you can already tell the impact that Bregman is having on this team. So let's hear PCA talk about his first conversation ever with Alex Bregman.
Our personalities might mix really well, but we talked for 20, 30 minutes the first day he came to the facility, and I had finished my workout. We sat in my locker just talking about our plan for me this year, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. He's already instilled some confidence in me that I need to hear sometimes. So I'm just glad I got another person in my corner because it's only ever been that year. But he's just I think he's a nut when it comes to like the hitting side of baseball, and I love that. So it's gonna be great.
You can't deny that we don't know what's going to happen on the field, but the impact Alex Bregman is already having on the 2026 Cubs, it's pretty measurable, Luke.
Yeah, and it's all behind the scenes right now, but and this is not I'm not knocking the other guy. Fans were excited about Kyle Tucker, but you didn't hear these sound bites about Kyle Tucker a year ago. You just didn't. The Cubs believe in sort of the makeup, and that, again, I'm not knocking Tucker. He's just a different guy than Bregman. There's just a different reputation, and I mean that on the positive side of Bregman. Like, he's known around baseball, as PCA put it, a nut. I mean, when he shows up and he calls the front office, or was it counsel, or did he ask the GM, and it was like, I need to report on every guy on the team, what they're working on this offseason, and how I can help them. So I know when I talk to them, like, this is what we're going to work on together because we're teammates. Give me more of that. Like, yes, that is a leader before they've even played a game. We talk about what's a leader, and you can say in baseball, well, that's, in football, it's easy. It's got to be the quarterback. That's a leader showing you before games. This guy hasn't even worked out with these guys yet. And he's already showing leadership in a quiet way, but a respected way because he's been there and done that. And if he's approaching these players in a receptive way, PCA, then the Cubs are only getting better this offseason. And I don't know what that's worth, but I'll tell you one thing, it's not a negative. It's not a negative. It's definitely a positive. We'll find out what it means. But PCA's in a huge season. And he doesn't play the same position as Alex Bregman, but he's pumped. He's pumped about learning from this guy. He's pumped about a 30-minute conversation when they just met. They haven't even been on the same field yet together. So I think maybe there's more to the Bregman signing than what I even originally thought. And I hope that's true.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard to, and again, middle of January, so we can kind of do this now. It's going to be hard to sort of figure out how that exactly extrapolates itself into the one win-loss record, but we're going to find out, and we're going to go through that, and that's what's going to be fun. The part that, a lot of players talked already that, like, a lot of Justin Turner vibes with Alex Bregman, which is great just from the leadership quality. But if Justin Turner was the player of old on the Cubs last year, they would have been a lot better off for it. And my other one, just before we go to the break really quick, was I was thinking about it too, is like, yeah, maybe Alex Bregman isn't going to hit 30 home runs like maybe the guy who was on the team last year, who we'll talk about on the other side of the break, or drive in 90 or 100 runs. Maybe he only hits 25 and drives in 80. But I'm starting to believe, like, maybe there's a timing to it a little bit. And sometimes that leadership is driving in those 2 runs when the game is tied, right? Those 2 runs maybe count a little bit more than some of the other runs that you might drive in at other times. Or if you're down by a couple of runs, you get a base hit to get things rolling. So there can be a timing aspect to how your production fits into that leadership that can also be something that maybe Bregman brings to the table that could be a little bit different and something that's going to be a boon to the Chicago Cubs. We got one more break. On the other side of the break, finish up this Bregman conversation. And also, yeah, that's right, Kyle Tucker to the Dodgers. We'll get into it. Stick around. It's the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota. Let's go places, but let's hear from some of our wonderful partners right now.
Hey, they are ringing in the new year at Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake, and hot deals all month long during their Ray Resolution Sales event. Stop in today and drive home with 0% financing for 72 months, plus no payments until spring on all new Chevrolet models, or check out their selection of over 125 vehicles priced under 20 grand. And with one of the Chicago area's largest Chevy inventories, you're going to find the right vehicle for you. And as one of the top selling Chevy dealers, they keep their prices competitive. Plus, Ray's Price Promise lets you shop confidently. The price you see is the price you pay. Go see for yourself. Visit our partner at their convenient location right on Route 12 in Fox Lake. And don't miss out on the Ray Resolution Sales event going on all month for 0% financing for 72 months, 0 payments until spring on all new Chevy models. Shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive.
And Luke, how are we going to get through this long winter, man? I mean, I feel like I got to go to a concert or something. I got to see something fun because I'm hankering for baseball. And even when baseball comes around, you got to use the Game Time app. Whether it's the concerts or the baseball, it gives the advantage back to the fans. It is the hack for unlocking tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's incredibly easy to use, and the Game Time guarantee means that you can trust that you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. And here's the best part. You find a really good price, you go to checkout, all of a sudden fees, everything changes. What am I paying for my ticket? Not at Game Time. What you see is what you pay. So right now they got amazing zone deals, and you can snag your favorite teams with those new ticket deals before anyone finds out by just favoriting your local favorite teams. And you could also get the lowest price guarantee that will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets or concert tickets with Game Time. Use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Tap, create an account, and go to Game Time app today. Terms apply. Redeem that code CHGO for $20 off. Rounding third and heading home here on the CHGO Cubs podcast on a Monday, presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Joey Christopoulos, Luke Stuckmeyer, who'll be back in studio tomorrow with Justin Roman, Sean Anderson on the ones and twos. You want to bring it home, saying goodbye to an old friend, Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker, 4 years, $240 million. Deferrals up the wazoo, a $57 million a year deal with opt-outs after year 2 and year 3. I want to get your first take reaction, and then I want to ask you a would you rather question on this.
I know a lot of people are saying they lost respect. He's a money chaser. How could you? You don't care about being great. You just want to jump on a bandwagon.
I'm sitting right here, Luke.
and you know what, Joey? I can't say any of those things.
I know.
Because I would do the same thing. Like, who wouldn't take that contract? Who wouldn't be like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the team that plays in 80 degrees and sunny, and I'm gonna go to the team with the most money and this ridiculous amount. It's an all-star team.
Yeah,
And
hit
I'm
sixth.
probably gonna go win the World Series and I'll take $57 million a year. Do I hate the guy for it? No. I hope it doesn't work out for him.
Yeah.
You know, actually, I hope it doesn't work out for the Dodgers, but I can't blame the guy for taking $57 million and joining the best team. Like, whatever.
Let's be fair here. If I had my choice between the New York Mets and the Los Angeles Dodgers, guess what I'm doing? I'm signing with the Dodgers, right?
Yeah,
So,
me
like,
too.
if those are the two teams on the table, I understand that. I in hindsight now, you can kind of feel or at least see or rationalize a little bit like maybe why the Cubs were reticent to make a $300-400 million commitment to this guy, because whether we like it or not, like that amount of money isn't just you hitting the baseball hard every day. There's other stuff that you have to do as a steward and representation of an organization and a franchise. And frankly, because it is an entertainment business, there are things that are asked of you that maybe they were just a little hesitant about whether Kyle Tucker would be open and wanting to do that, right? He gets to go to LA, he gets to hit sixth. You know what I mean? He gets to kind of just sort of hide and hunt fastballs. They got a great little opening there in the right field where he can kind of like pull some balls and pick up a couple extra home runs. It's great news for him. And yeah, Luke, we were doing shows where we were like, how Kyle Tucker going to handle getting booed at Wrigley? August 1, Dodgers at Wrigley Field. Methinks Kyle Tucker is going to get booed. But my question for you is, Sean, go ahead.
Oh, just real quick. Brendan Miller is apparently off, or at least free enough to make a comment saying PCA always mentioning Nico, Dansby, and now Bregman as mentors. Didn't hear one thing about Tuck.
Did not.
Oh, the pitch doctor firing shots.
Firing gas. A little chin music from the pitch
that
doctor.
needle.
Get off my plate.
More like the burn doctor.
Good to see you, Brendan, man. Great Cubs-related show. It was actually my first time I got a chance to verbally talk to him before when I produced their show last week. I am a huge fan of Cubs-related on Thursdays. Please, everyone, go check it out. Yeah, look, I mean, I'm not going to do it here, but people were talking about it at Cubs convention. Kyle Tucker is not a bad person. But not to get into specifics, maybe he isn't exactly the type of leader or fit, as you've used the word fit, Luke, and I think it's very apt that Alex Bregman is for this team in this moment right now. And oh yeah, Alex Bregman is still an all-star, a two-time World Series champion, Gold Glove in 2024. So he can bring it on the field and off the field, and I think that's what the Cubs were looking for. My pet question for you was, would you rather, right, because the numbers are lining up perfectly, would you rather have, in 2026, would you rather spend $57 million on Kyle Tucker, or would you rather spend $57 million on Shota Imanaga and Alex Bregman? Because 35 plus 22, the last time I checked, is also 57. The Cubs chose their path, obviously with Shota and Bregman. Kyle Tucker gets $57 million a year. Which one would you rather have?
I would rather have Bregman and Shota. I would. Now, that would not have been the same answer had he not been hurt last year, and had he repeated in the second half what he did in the first half, and there was no injury. Then I would flip that answer, and my early season answer would have been Kyle Tucker. But the way it played out, and now seeing the way they can build the depth of the infield, and yet still have the outfield intact, and maybe they're still willing to spend money. I don't know. Like you said, maybe they're willing to add another guy. Maybe it's just not necessarily Alcantara is the fourth outfielder. But is Bellinger still a free agent?
Yes, he is.
Well, if you really want to go over the tax, would you rather have Bellinger or would you rather have Kopech and
right? And that's another piece of news coming out of Cubs convention that it may not happen before opening day.
Yeah.
But I feel confident in saying on this show that I think the Cubs are planning on going over the luxury tax at some point this season. I don't think it's going to be as inhibitive as it's been in previous years. I think that they believe that obviously the structures and some of the rules are going to change when this eventual labor negotiation begins between the players and the owners next year. And when you look at it again, and we've done it on the show, if you fly 6 to 10 million over the luxury tax, it's less than $1 million in penalty. I mean, for a big time organization like them,
$167 million just in taxes.
Right? Yeah, that's what the Dodgers are looking at.
What are we talking about? I would rather, and I'm not saying the Cubs are talking to Bellinger anymore, but like, we keep talking about the 2-for-1 deal. The Cubs said, I like the idea of still adding Gallen and Kopech. Can you do that for me? Like, can you do that? And then we'll play the bat thing by ear, because I think that's easier to acquire at the trade deadline, especially if you have a surplus of pitching that might allow you to flip that and go do that, right?
Yeah.
So I like what the Cubs have done this season, but now I want to say I'm giddy and I almost feel guilty about what they're doing this offseason. So go ahead and get me 2 more pieces. Go ahead and go over that. Push through that luxury tax and swim on into the next one. What the heck?
This is the best conversation in the world. Are we getting too much? Right? Like, yeah. I'm not saying that we are the most talented team in the National League, but we are asking questions of, well, what are we going to do with this guy and that guy? And it's like we're pushing food away. Yeah. They keep bringing out cheeseburgers, right? And we keep saying, no, we're full. I'm telling you, I'm with you, Luke, that we're not full. And if the Cubs are still intent on adding some depth or adding to this team, and they are intent on perhaps possibly going over the luxury tax, not flying over it, but going over it to spend the necessary dollars that they need to, it gets back to your point, Luke, that you made right after the season ended, that they can get creative on a bigger deal early on in the year or at the deadline, whether that's a starting pitcher or whether that is a corner outfielder or whatever it is. And then that's when you can get really, really serious. You could be dealing major league talent in a trade to bring back major league talent, which means you don't have to gut your farm system. There's a lot of different ways to get creative with this, and I think the Cubs are interested in getting that creative.
Yeah, you can't stop here. You don't want to stop here, because while the first order of business will be to kick down the door on Milwaukee and put them underneath the door, like somebody trapped underneath a bear in The Great Outdoors. Dan Aykroyd, if you've ever seen that movie, great movie.
Yeah,
but
Blue is.
Once you knock down the Brewers, and I believe it's happening this season, then you have to approach the next thing, and that's the Dodgers. The Dodgers are talking and swirling and hovering like vultures over Freddie Peralta. If the Dodgers add Freddie Peralta, Zac Gallen won't seem like that big of a deal, but at least you'll have that depth that you can at least say, we're not keeping pace, but we are showing that we can be right there with them. You got to do something like that. And that's why I'm for 2 more big pieces to this puzzle, even before the season starts. Go for it. I know they're not going to get Freddie Peralta, but if the Dodgers don't get Freddie Peralta, you don't think they're going to see if they can get Zac Gallen? Add him?
Right. And
why not?
The other side of that coin is, again, it's hard to project out what it's all going to look like. But if you are the Chicago Cubs and you're saying, well, maybe in terms of this high-end talent and the dollars and the money, we're never really going to be able to compete with the Dodgers, which I think is a very fair statement. You know what they can do, though? The Dodgers have the luxury to sit some of these guys, wake up and fall out of bed and win 92 games, right?
Yeah.
If the Chicago Cubs, though, can create this lean, mean, regular season machine, at the very least, all they can say to themselves is that they know that they're playing games at Wrigley, which they know for a fact was an advantage in this last postseason. They were a different team when they had to go to games in Milwaukee, right? And look, different team, different situation, all that stuff. But if at the very least you can say to yourself, we can be a really, really, really good regular season team and keep playing games at Wrigley Field, maybe that gives us a little bit more of a chance or a leg up against some teams that frankly are spending more money, and teams like the Dodgers that are frankly going to be on paper more talented than they are.
Yeah, and by the way, if the Dodgers do somehow acquire Freddie Peralta, you watch former Cubs prospect Jackson Ferris be part of that deal.
Oh, yeah.
And end up in the Brewers organization. That'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Yeah, then he'll be pitching against us, and
Then Barb
rock and roll.
will lose her mind and
Yeah, I was
her
gonna
turkey
say.
meatloaf. She won't be able to take it.
Luke, man, we got to get out of here on another great episode of the CHGO Cubs podcast. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at CHGO_Cubs. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, CHGO Sports, about to fly over 103,000 subscribers, so please join us.
We're already at 104, baby.
Already 104?
Already says 104.
Oh, Bears, baby. See, I fall asleep sad. We fall out of bed and we pick up subscribers. But join us, will you? Join us in the community. We will be back tomorrow. Luke will be back in studio with Justin Roman. Thank you so much for everybody tuning in. This episode is always presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Luke, bring us home. Tell us what to fly. What are we flying today?
Fly the W. Thank you, and good night.
We all silly like the mayor.